Today, Gareth Southgate has announced the 33-man provisional Euro squad for England. It's going to be interesting to see who he cuts from it because there's two friendlies coming up at the start of June, and after that, 7 players will be cut from on screen, leaving 26 going to Germany. I want to take a quick look at some of his picks, maybe some players he's left out, and then get on to who I'd cut from the 33s he's got, and then maybe a bit of an alternative way of playing. Although I do appreciate that tactically, I don't think Southgate will go for it, and I don't think he could pull it off. But let's dig into this squad. So we start off. We've got Kane, Watkins, and Tony as our strikers. We've got Foden, Gordon, Grealish, Bellingham, Palmer, Eze, Maddison, Saka and Bowen, all as the attacking players to accompany the strikers. And then midfielders, Rice, Gallagher and Trent, Wharton, Mainu and Jones. So a few within there that I didn't really expect to see and a few missing. Defensively, this is where my main issues lie. So Walker, Trippier, Shaw as our out and out fullbacks, and then everyone else is more of a centre back but can play fullback. So Maguire, Stones, Branthwaite, Mark Guehi, Joe Gomez, Konza, Dunk and Kwanzaa. And then the goalkeepers are Pickford, Ramsdale, Henderson and Trafford. Now, we'll start off with the problems that I kind of see. The main problem I picked up instantly was that we've only got one out and out left back in Luke Shaw, and Southgate said in a press conference soon after he announced his squad that he thinks it's a bit of a shot in the dark. He doesn't necessarily think that he's going to be fit in time. He thinks it's a long shot. Now, if that's the case, then why has he only called up one out and out left back? Because if Shaw can't make it, which he suspects he won't be able to, then we'll be going to a tournament with no left backs. He left Chilwell at home. Fair enough, the form hasn't been there, but at least he's a left back. Tyrick Mitchell was a player that I said yesterday in my video should be in this squad. 1, down to our lack of left backs, and 2, because he's had a very, very good end to the season and pretty consistent season throughout. But he was overlooked. I understand Kieran Trippier can play left back, but if Trippier plays left back because Shaw can't make it, we've got no cover for Walker or Trippier. I know that we've got players like Ezri Konsa, Joe Gomez who can fill in at fullback, but again, they're not mainly fullbacks. Konsa and Gomez have played them this season a lot, but that's not their natural position. It's something they've just been filling in for at club level. So I'm not overly confident about the defensive selections from that standpoint of just not having enough left backs. I also think taking as many centre backs as we have named is a bit strange. I just don't see how Tyrick Mitchell's not there ahead of maybe Jarell Kwanzaa. It's a bit early for Kwanzaa. We don't need that many centre backs, and I know 7 players are going to get cut, but Tyrick Mitchell or Chilwell would have just given us a bit of backup. Moving into midfield, the midfielders, there's 6 more defensive ones. I agree with Rice, Gallagher, Wharton, Mainu. I still don't think Trent's a midfielder, and I think a lot of other players, there's players that play for their clubs in midfield. Trent doesn't play for Liverpool in midfield. He still plays at fullback when he plays. So Jurgen Klopp doesn't see him as a midfielder at the moment. Maybe that's because they need a right back in and then they'll try that transition. But until he is doing it at club level, I don't see how you're counting him as a midfielder at international level. Curtis Jones, very shocked at that. No offence to him, but I mean, Harvey Elliott's just won Young Player of the Year at Liverpool. I think Harvey Elliott's been a lot more integral to Liverpool than Curtis Jones this season. So Even though I wouldn't take Elliott or Jones, I think if I was to choose either, it would be Elliott every time. So, bit of an odd one there. Then moving on to the attackers, I agree. Pretty much all of them should be there. Grealish is the one mainly, or maybe Maddison, that you could argue, based on form, based on injuries this season, might not deserve to be in there. And then the three strikers make sense. Solanke will feel hard done by. Other players that have missed out, Sancho's been okay for Dortmund. I don't think it warrants him getting in, but he was a notable name that people mentioned, as well as Sterling being another winger, and Rashford. So mainly Rashford and Sterling, but they have been in every England squad for the last 10 years, maybe 8-10 years. So it was a bit of a shock that neither of them were in it, but I agree that neither of them should be in it. So happy with those decisions from Southgate. Jordan Henderson, I expected him to be there, even though I don't think he should. And Southgate has said no. So again, another good decision from Southgate. Obviously, left backs we've spoken about. Ben White, Southgate said he called, and Ben White is just not available for selection, or he didn't call because he's not available for selection, something like that. So Ben White is just not there. He would be and he should be, but the relationship is broken, so he isn't. Reece James, he said he's willing to give Shaw time to get fit again. Well, Reece James played on the last game of the season for Chelsea. I know he got sent off, but that doesn't really matter because it doesn't affect him internationally. So I'm very surprised that Reece James has been left out of this. I think it'd be a very good option. And again, if you take Reece James, it means you've got Walker and James for right back, Shaw and Trippier for left back. So at least you've got enough natural fullbacks in the squad instead of only 3. So Reece James, a notable mention. Nick Pope as the goalkeeper, maybe. I don't see how Trafford's been called up. I know he will be the goalkeeper that's cut from it, but he was awful for Burnley, and as soon as Burnley dropped him, they started picking up a lot of points. So yeah, Trafford for me is not someone who should be there. But yeah, I think they're the most notable. I've probably missed someone out, and apologies if I have, but yeah, some big names. Tomori was the other centre-back I was looking for, and I know he hasn't been favoured much by Southgate. I expected him to be in 30, or as they've done it instead, 33, ahead of Kwanzaa, probably Dunk, maybe Konza. But yeah, it's strange, that relationship. It doesn't seem to really be working. However, we've discussed the squad. Now, let's look at what I would do to this squad in order to get down to the 26. Now, obviously, I would pick, as I've stated many times, Tyrick Mitchell, but I've got to choose 26 of these 33 players. So, the players I will be cutting from this squad are Trafford, Kwanzaa, and Dunk as the defensive 3, the 2 defenders and the goalkeeper. I've also taken out the midfielder that was here. Sorry, it's escaped me. Curtis Jones. It escaped me because I was surprised he was there in the first place. So Curtis Jones is out for me. Jack Grealish, I think form doesn't warrant him being there, and obviously injuries. Gordon has had a very good season, so I've got Gordon ahead of Grealish. Tony as well. I don't think we necessarily need to have 3 strikers, and I think we've got that many talented players in behind that, if you wanted to, if you really had to have a 3rd striker, Bowen could play there. Anthony Gordon has played there, I'm pretty sure, for the under-21s. He's played up front for Newcastle when, they just played 2 up front with Gordon and Alexander Isak. So there's a few players there that could do it. And then James Maddison was the one. I felt it was a bit harsh, but form hasn't been great since he got back from his injury. I think as a player in great form, brilliant flair, can dribble past players at ease. I just think Eze at the moment is probably ahead based on the end of the season. Maybe you could argue you could drop Maddison back a little bit, which keeps him in, and take out one of these. But if I was to keep Maddison, I'd actually put him here and take out Trent, just because I don't see Trent as a midfielder. But I think Trent goes just because I guess if you need an extra fullback as well, he can cover that position. And although I don't like him at fullback, he does play there, so it makes a bit more sense for me. So that is my 26 based on the 33 Southgate has called up, and I'm assuming it will be a 4-2-3-1. Now, I think it probably will be Pickford, Walker, Stones, Maguire. If Shaw's not fit, it will be Trippier at left back, I'm pretty sure, but if he's fit, it will be him. I think it'll be Rice and Trent in the midfield from Southgate. I really do. I don't think he trusts Wharton or Mainu because they're so young, and I don't think he's a massive fan of Gallagher in comparison. However, in these friendlies, maybe Wharton or Kobe Mainu perform very well and manage to get in. Could also drop Bellingham back there, but I really don't want to not have Bellingham in an attacking role because he's been so good there this season that he deserves to play there. And then I can see it being Kane up front with Foden, Bellingham and Saka in behind from Southgate, and that's fine for me. However, I have came up with an alternative solution, and this is based on our lack of fullbacks, especially if Luke Shaw doesn't make the squad. We'll have two fullbacks, two out-and-out fullbacks going to this competition. So, I've got rid of the fullback positions. And I know this is a bit hipster. Pep Guardiola makes it work, so Gareth Southgate can. I don't really believe that. And that's why I said this is my alternative decision. I don't think that Southgate will go for it. I don't think he could pull it off. But there's a few City boys in here that might be able to show the others how it's done, maybe. I'm not sure. But for me, if I was looking at something other than the 4-2-3-1, based on our lack of fullbacks, I'd be going for Pickford in goal, Walker, Stones and Maguire all as centre-backs, Rice, and I've got Wharton at the moment based on form, but you'll have to see how he does if he features in these first two England friendlies, or if he even makes the squad. It will probably be Trent there if Southgate did ever do this, but I've put Wharton there because I like him. I think he'd be a bit of a mystery to oppositions as well, so I think he'd be a gem. Good distribution. It means he can sit while Rice can be progressive as he likes to be. Wharton can spray quick 10-yard passes to all the players ahead of him, and a lot of the time it's just about releasing the ball before the defenders have time to get in position, because if you're taking 3 or 4 touches on the ball in that midfield before you release the pass, we're not going to have much space, especially considering we're going to be expected to have a lot of the ball, so we really need to make use of any turnovers we manage to get, and I think Wharton would utilise that very well. And then this is the exciting part. So obviously Kane up top, but Saka on one wing, Gordon on the other. I do appreciate that maybe Foden goes there. I think Bellingham has to play in the middle in attack, and Foden, whenever I see him performing at his best for City, the areas he picks up for City where he's most influential always seem to be one of the attacking midfield spots. On the wing, and I know for England he doesn't perform very well on the wing, but when he's on the wing he seems quite limited. I think if you have him in behind, the amount of times I've seen him this season pick up the ball from a central area, make a little run, shift the ball left mainly, sometimes right, and just ping one in the bottom corner or in the top corner. He really needs to be playing centrally, and I think that will get the best out of him. So yes, I appreciate this isn't anything Southgate will probably touch, but due to the hole he's dug himself because of the lack of natural fullbacks in the squad. I'd like to see something like this. Maybe see it in the friendlies, see how it gets on. And a player I do want to shout out that I think could be very influential is, I'll just put his name in here, Eze. Obviously, we're not going to play him as well as all these players, but I think Eze, just highlight him because I think he will be a very influential player off the bench just because of the form he's in, the way he drops the shoulder, can get past players, brilliant creativity as well. So I think he's a bit of a rogue kind of raw player that maybe oppositions won't really know how to defend against because they're not expecting him, and he can really cause some damage off the bench. So yeah, Eze is a player I like the look of. However, this is the squad, the 33 here. These are the cuts I'm making, and this is just a bit of fun, a bit of a different way if we go away from the 4-2-3-1. So let me know what you think of this squad down in the comments. Do you agree with Southgate's picks? Are there players missing that you think should be in the squad? Is there anyone that's there that you're not sure why they've been called up and you think the space should have been given to someone else? Make sure to get your thoughts down below. What do you think of my idea if we were to go away from the 4-2-3-1? Do you think that could be something that's useful? Let me know down below. Make sure to like and subscribe. And, well, I'll be keeping up to date with the England news, so I will make sure that I can keep you as up to date with my opinions on it as well. I'll see you next time.